still on the Raceworks stand. One of the awesome cars they've got is Josh's Norri Factory built R32. Now Josh, billet engine.
Yep.
Well, I don't even, Hollinger, you said this was your dream build, yeah?
It was, yeah. So I pretty well dream package and just went out and did everything. So it's billet block 3.2 with a Hollinger 6-speed sequential, M-Tron ECU and ECU Master PDM running all the ancillaries. So it's a Garrett G40, but it's actually been made by GCG, and they fabricated like the whole HKS turbo, the old style, into a new compressor. I had the old HKS turbo for years and wanted to put it on to keep the Japanese aspect to the vehicle, but when we went billet block, it was never going to work. So I spoke to James at GCG, and he had the idea of putting a Garrett G40 900 into the HKS turbo.
Yeah, well, and you've got everything there. You've got EGTs.
So it's got EGTs, exhaust back pressure sensors, 2 Garrett GV40 wastegates to control boost, and that was something that we had trouble with, being a smaller turbo. We made a lot of boost quickly, so boost control was sort of essential. One day we will put a bigger turbo on it and use the full capabilities of the billet
Saying
block.
that though, this would be super punchy, yeah?
It is. It's really punchy. It made just under 700 at the wheels, and a light car with a Hollinger sequential, it feels like 1200.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
You know? And it's also got Dartone Racing drive-by-wire, so we've got things like launch control. It idles now. RB26 is never idle. Cruise control.
I love how not having that ugly sort of throttle body at the front, it's so clean.
It is.
That setup you've got there.
Yep, it's clean, and we still get the ITB, like the induction noise, I guess.
And all these hard lines you've done, that's the little things I notice on a lot of cars that people fail to do, but I love stuff like this, all the hard lines.
Yeah, thanks. I guess something that we aim to do was be clean and, tidy. Less is more. So, Raceworks supplied all the, I think that's 600 series hard lines, is your aluminium tubing. And another thing with the billet block was getting it to breathe. So Bullet Engineering, which is the guys who made the block, there's a big -16 orb on the side of the crankcase, and that's to let the crank breathe. So we actually had to turn that catch can into a crankcase filter.
Oh, okay.
So that actually just breathes crankcase ventilation. It does fill up with oil. We had trouble with that on the dyno, that it filled up after about 10 runs, so 10 pulls. So what we're going to do is actually just run that back to some, and it can breathe up and down. And then we have a catch can on the other side of the car for the valves. But because the crankcase breathes so well, I've had no oil in the catch can yet. Like, it doesn't breathe heavy out the top. And it's got diffs in it from Gearhead Diffs in New Zealand. So he put the Bathurst gear set in it, which is 4.4 to 1, I think. So it's really sort of quick off the line, And it doesn't run out. Like, I haven't done a lot of testing with it yet because we only finished the car last week. But just driving it around town, I found, or around the back streets, it really wanted to get up and go.
Is there anything else you do to it? It looks pretty complete to me. You've got a nice set of brakes on it as well.
Yeah, so endless brakes. That was another a dream of mine as a kid, was to have the big gold endless brakes. The HKS suspension, which when I started out, it was going to be like a HKS bolt-on sort of car, and it just went, I don't know, downhill from there.
I'm sure you're not the first, not the first person who's done that, mate.
The cooling system is Hypertune. We actually had a little bit of trouble with getting the second fan to fit. So what we actually did is use the PDM to use the AC fan to actually push through, and then just use the second fan
to push it out on the other side. Yeah, I see you've got that blocked off there.
Yeah, so we actually had to block it off to get the radiator to sort of suck through. If we took that off, yes, we got more flow through it, but it didn't work as well. And that's all controlled by a PDM. It's the first time using a PDM, and I love them. They're so handy. Pretty much everything on the car is run by the PDM except for like your tail lights, headlights, etc. All the AC, drive-by-wire, And the PDM is actually hooked up to the CAN bus. So you get, there's a lot you can do. I don't know all of everything I can do yet. I'm sort of still learning,
I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this car. To me, this is the perfect car. Hey mate, you grab a coffee and then go to a local track day in the afternoon.
And have a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You've done everything super well. Look, hopefully, I mean, things can go wrong, but it looks like you've done the best job as you could to try and future-proof the car, so you're not replacing things multiple times.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And a lot of the parts are supplied by Raceworks. So the EGTs you can get through Raceworks. The 1600cc Bosch injectors are all Raceworks, and that's a good sort of insurance. If you've got EGTs, good injectors, good fuel pumps, you're sort of safe. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, man. This is a
Thanks.
stellar build. One of the nicest R32s I've ever seen.
Cool. Yeah, and that was sort of the outcome, I guess, was to have a clean GT-R. Brad from Fish and Drifts in Yeppoon, who painted the car, he went to the lengths of actually going to the VIN number, working out what factory the GT-R come from.
Oh, really?
Contacted them to get the paint code, to get the right KH2 grey.
Wow.
Yeah, there's actually, I think there's 8 variances
of the same colour.
Of the same colour, and it actually is all KH2, so they don't put an extra digit. You have to go back to the factory to find out what colour they used. Yeah.
I like your gear shifter. It's not
obnoxious.
It's not obnoxious. I was going to say, because a lot of these sequential ones. I know why they're like that, but they look a bit too full on in the car, don't
so
they?
That's actually the factory, or it's a Nismo short shifter, just with the Hollinger gear knob on top. Yeah. And again, that was like the whole cars and coffee thing. I don't want a big shifter. So it's got a titanium 4-inch dump pipe from Fueled by Fab in New Zealand, and then it's hooked up to a HKS bolt-on exhaust. Yeah. Like it's BME rods and pistons, so they do like a kit that come with the motor. I think their idea is low compression and really high boost. Yeah. So they sort of said 60 PSI is your starting point for a billet block. This turbo, it'll only make about 34, I think, was full max. So it's running 34, and it sounds good because the turbo is really working. Yeah.
I know you said it's probably working overtime, but at the end of the day, that's going to drive so much nicer than, going to a much bigger turbo. Yeah. Yes, it might make more power, but this as a complete package is much more usable.
It is. It's more user-friendly. It's a really good street car, but I think it would stand its own up at a race day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You probably think this is silly, but my favourite thing of the whole car is actually the Built by Legends hood. Carbon fibre hood. Yeah,
I didn't even notice it. I don't think I've ever seen one before. Look at this carbon fibre.
Built by Legends in Japan. We love it, and this is why we do it, I guess, is talking to people.
I'm very, very impressed. I mean, I see a lot of cars in the job I'm in, and this has actually blown me away. You've done there's so many little things I notice that on cars like this, that when other cars don't have it, I'm like,
that's cool.
How come you haven't done it like this?
Yeah. I've been building cars since I was when these things were $5,000, and it still blows me away how popular that they've actually gotten the last few years. And I think that is maybe because they went legal in America, and so America's sort of they're flooding the market with all these GT-Rs at the moment, which is great.
It's sort of good and bad.
It is, yeah.
Josh has got the finishing touch here on the turbo.
Yeah, so I guess that's the turbo guard that I had on is just for show, to show the car off, but this is the air filter that I run. And again, it's HKS. HKS are starting to release a lot of their old products, but modernise them. And I think again, it's that influx of American guys buying the old JDM cars.
Correct. Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys checking out the car.
No, fantastic work.
Cool. Oh, it was nice to meet you. Cheers.
If you haven't seen our collection of 90s retro merch yet, what are you doing? We have many different styles on offer in both tees and hoodies, so grab one today.